So Charlamagne Tha God is weighing in on the 2020 presidential race, and Democrats vying for the nomination. Many of the candidates have stopped by his very popular radio show, The Breakfast Club, to talk politics and answer questions about their personal lives.
That's right. In an exclusive interview, I asked the co-host and author what he thought of the field of potential nominees and who he would vote for today. Take a listen.
I think Democrats are doing a piss poor job. And the reason I think they're doing a piss poor job is because a lot of them are running on a I'm not Trump agenda. They're running on this whole anti-Trump agenda, but they're not actually telling the American people what it is that they're going to do to get America, in a better space. And me, I have personal interests. I'm not even going to front. 2020, I'm voting, for my self-interest. I'm voting for my issues, and my main issue is blackness. I want to know what our particular candidates going to do specifically for the African American community, because I feel like for so long we've been ignored, especially in the Democratic Party. We've been so loyal to the Democrats for so long, but what has actually been put into place specifically, for us. So I love all of the different conversations that are happening. As far like I love the conversation about reparations. I know people look at that and they say, oh, that's just that's never going to happen. We're going to just hand out checks. It's not even about checks. It's just about the idea of dismantling white supremacy. It's about America acknowledging a wrong that they did to a group of people, and let's try to get to a place of healing, with that. Like I love Marianne Williamson. She's been on Oprah Super Soul Conversation several times, but that's her whole thing. Like you hear her talk about reparations, but what she's actually talking about is karma. If you do something wrong to somebody, you have to acknowledge that wrong, apologize for that wrong, and figure out a way to make it better. And America has, yet to do that, for black people. So I like Andrew Yang,
I know you said that.
Yeah, because he has ideas. When you're sitting there having a conversation with him, he has actual ideas for America. But then I look at Andrew and I be like, well, do I really want another person in the White House who has no political experience whatsoever?
But do you want somebody, but here's the question though, and this is what I think we're talking about, which is sort of the issue that the Democrats are going to have to figure out is, as you say, do they run somebody who campaigns primarily on saying, I'm not Trump? Because at the end of the day, you've got to beat Trump. And so the question is, Andrew Yang's got some incredible ideas that a lot of people like. Do you need somebody who's a little bit out of the mainstream, who people support, but it can't necessarily get the votes to beat President Trump? Or do you want somebody, do you go the range of, if Andrew Yang is over here and then you got Joe Biden and Kirsten Gillibrand sort of in the middle, but they're proven politicians, do you want that? Or do you want somebody who's got great ideas but may never actually get to the Oval Office?
Yeah, I don't like when people say you can't beat Trump. And the reason I don't like that is because you got to play the game. It's plenty of times we've watched two teams go at him like, oh, they'll never beat this person, they'll never beat that team, and then that team loses. Think about the Patriots when they were undefeated and they played the New York Giants, who got in on a wild card.
Yeah.
The Giants won the game. So it's like you can't just say, hey, they can't beat Trump. You got to play the game. My thing, and I said I like Andrew Yang. I don't mean I like him as far as I would vote for him or want to see him.
But you
be
like
president.
his ideas.
I like his ideas. If I had to vote for somebody right now today, it would definitely be Kamala Harris. And the reason it would be Kamala Harris is because I was liking Kamala before she even announced, she was running for president. She was on Breakfast Club last year. And, I had been following her for the past 2 or 3 years. And, I just was intrigued by Kamala Harris for some reason. I know people question her record as a prosecutor, but it was a lot of the things that she was doing in that space that I thought was very progressive, like the Back on Track program and, making her officers wear body cameras, stuff like that had me engaged, wow, who is this Kamala Harris? And of course, she's a black woman, so I was definitely intrigued by that. That's just natural. That could be my sister, that could be my aunt, that could be my,
be one of your daughters.
My daughters, you know what I mean? My friend, of course, black women. So it's I'm intrigued by that. So I was like, yo, she could be president. I always thought that. If you go back and watch our first interview, I told her, yo, if you run, we'll support you. Now, I just had some questions about her record as a prosecutor, but she's a prosecutor. That's what prosecutors do.
Right.
There's the criminal justice system is always going to be disproportionate. It's always going to be it's always going to affect black and brown people in a negative way. You know what I mean? It's just designed that way. But she was actually doing things to try to change that. And I think you need people like that. You need people in those positions of power, you know, to change, you know, criminal justice reform, to change prison reform. Like, I don't have a problem with her being a prosecutor. I would rather have somebody who looks like they could be one of my family members there, so they have a better understanding of what's going on and a better understanding of why certain communities are the way they are and why we do what we do. So prosecutors lock people up. She locked people up. I don't think that's, you know, enough to make me scratch her and say I don't want her as a president.
A very reasonable explanation as to why he's backing Kamala Harris. In sort of this age of the way that we talk about politics now can be so extreme and so divisive and so emotional, it's really nice to listen to somebody just talk in a very even-handed, logical way.
Yes, and you know, later in the conversation, we'll run this in our 9 o'clock, we talk about black conservatism and Candace Owens. And, you know, he is not against people who say, look, African Americans need to leave the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
He says, but when you talk to me about leaving the Democratic Party, what are you offering? Yeah. What are the Republicans offering? What is black conservatism offering? So that's kind of interesting.
Well, he's had some very interesting conversations with all manner of people, like you mentioned, but Tommy Lauren, who we know is, you know, sort of well known for her right-wing views, he's welcomed her to the Breakfast Club to talk. So.
He actually said she ended up canceling for a variety of reasons, but yeah, he's willing to talk to anybody. And I said to him, would you have Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Would you have Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr.? He was like, sure. Yeah. Why not?
All right. Can't wait to hear the rest of it.
Yeah, it's going to be good.